Good evening, my name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rock.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selena, I'm from Tauvenga-Vengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music in Today FM, in Malak Island. Today FM rock.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news tonight, tropical depression heads towards Fiji as cyclone expected. PM issues weather warning to Fijians. And later in sports, Fiji Sevens coach names strong team for Hong Kong.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
Fijians should start preparing for a Category 1 cyclone which is expected to form in the Fiji waters by Sunday. This as the current tropical depression TD13F continues its movement towards Fiji, and the system is expected to take a similar track to last week's TC Josie, passing southwest of the group early next week. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Less than a week later, Fiji is now bracing for what could be the strongest storm to hit us this cyclone season. Heavy rain, strong winds and flooding is what the Fiji Meteorological Services has forecasted as the tropical depression currently affects the Fiji group.
It's slow moving and expected to take a southeasterly track and pass close to the group early next week. As the system comes closer, we'll see that the northwesterly winds will develop and they will become strong.
Predictions are that the system will be stronger than TC Josie, and depending on how far from the group it tracks, the likely impacts will be similar or even worse if it tracks closer to land.
Since the system is still slow moving, its track, movement and intensity remains uncertain. And as we'll go into the weekend or our next 24 to 72 hours, it will become more clearer in the direction it's going to move.
Kumar says the system has the potential to produce more than 120 millimeters of rainfall in 24 hours this weekend. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Be prepared and alert as no one knows exactly where the next cyclone will strike. Prime Minister Vurengembani Marama is urging Fijians to remain on alert and adhere to advice of the authorities as we prepare for more severe weather from this weekend. Akusita Tale reports.
The Prime Minister says everyone needs to be prepared for the projected cyclone that may pose yet another serious threat to the lives of Fijians and the health of our economy.
As we've seen, due to changing weather patterns, these storms are becoming more frequent and more severe. And it is vitally important that every Fijian is fully prepared for this fresh onslaught.
The public is advised to secure properties and ensure their family is safe. Fijians are urged to avoid crossing or swimming in any swollen rivers and stay out of any floodwaters. Drivers are also advised not to drive through flooded waters on the road.
I also urge every Fijian to please take special care to ensure those who are vulnerable, including children and the elderly, are kept as far away as possible from flooded areas and out of harm's way.
The Prime Minister says the government will continue to provide immediate support to those who are experiencing rain and flooding since last weekend. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
Meanwhile, earlier today, people in the Western Division are again bracing for the worst as the threat of another tropical cyclone is looming over the country. Residents who are still recovering from the devastation caused by widespread flooding last weekend are worried as the damage could be worse. Felipe Naikaso reports.
These residents are dreading the bad weather in forecast as they're still trying to pick up the pieces from last weekend.
It's still hard, because the flood just went past us, and thinking of like where else we can go, because at the moment everything is still closed.
Residents say they were caught off guard last weekend and they're concerned about their safety.
There's a big panic in the community now. People are still not settled yet and they are still trying to move to higher grounds.
This is the current situation in Nandi. Heavy downpour in many parts from midday.
Very hard for preparing. We're going to hit the school, flood time. Then we coming here, we clean our house here. Sometimes no power, no water. You see, this is my compound, is my all the thing. Yeah.
Other parts of the Western Division have also been experiencing heavy rain from last night. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Farmers in Korotari outside Lambasa stand to lose thousands of dollars worth of crops due to the flooding yesterday. This was the worst flooding in a year and it has greatly impacted the farmers. Eleanor Rangaivu reports.
Acres of cane farms lost within hours. The devastating floodwaters taking with it the livelihoods of farmers living along this river.
Very bad, very bad. Very hard to plant now. It's been very bad for us.
The floods have come at a time the farmers are cultivating their land and preparing their seedlings for planting.
The agriculture sector has been severely damaged. Farmers, I have come across 20 to 30 farmers where the seedlings are all down the drain. So they have to start afresh everything again. They have to buy the seedlings, do the cultivation again, prepare the land. I don't know how long will that take now.
Farmer Muhammad Rashid Ali has lost 200 tons of cane and about $10,000 worth of vegetables from his farm at Wekisi, Korotari.
So can't say anything. If government will help us, then it's good. Otherwise, can't say anything.
They have been badly affected, right? Definitely agriculture department will be coming over to do a proper investigation as to how things were done.
Apart from farms being damaged, some farmers in Korotari also reported dead livestock. Commissioner Northern Chopesa Wadya says the agriculture team in Lambasa has carried out initial assessment and assistance will be rendered once the weather improves. Eleanor Turangabu, FBC News.
The Northern Emergency Operations Centre is beefing up its operations with weather expected to further intensify. RFMF, police and NFA personnel are on standby for any assistance that might be needed by the public. This afternoon, the North EOC began food distribution to the evacuation centres. There are 10 active evacuation centres with a total of 490 evacuees. While water has receded in many areas, some low-lying areas and roads are still underwater. None of the homes affected by the flooding were damaged yesterday.
For the last 3 hours, the water level at the 5 areas that have water gauges are giving some positive figures, but we cannot be complacent with that. The weatherman has said that over the weekend there will be heavy rain.
Regular forces are on standby to help people if weather deteriorates come the weekend. Fiji Military Forces Commander Rear Admiral William Naupoto says about 200 military officers have been deployed to flood-affected areas in the west, while 50 will remain on standby. Naupoto says the regular personnel are on standby and the territorial forces will be called if the situation gets worse. The RFMF is collaborating with the commissioners in the west and the north.
We have all the equipment we have at our disposal, all the trucks, the vehicles. It includes the bushmasters if they need to be deployed. But going into flooded areas, for example, they're good vehicles. They're high and they can drive through. We have everything at our disposal to tackle whatever job there is given to us.
We now cross live to our West journalist Felipe Naikaso. Felipe, I understand it's raining heavily again and some parts are already flooded.
Yes, Jackie, that is absolutely correct. Certain parts here in the Western Division have started to flood. Places like in Ba, in Nandi, Rakraki, even also in Lotoka. These places have started to flood and it's due to the heavy downpour the Western Division is currently experiencing. I also spoke to some of the residents earlier today who were affected by the floods over the last weekend, and this is something that they were worried about, is the flooding, because they had just dried some of their items, some of the household stuff, and due to the heavy rain, the houses have started to flood again. A major cleanup is still underway. The DISMAC operations are also working around the communities to assist some of the families, move them into evacuation centers also. According to the Commissioner of Western, they have a plan in place, and for any family that is in need of help, they can call onto their line and they can be assisted, and they can be even moved into these evacuation centers that the DISMAC team has already opened.
Thanks so much for that, Felipe. Still to come, Navisao students administered MenC vaccine. And taxi driver convicted of rape. Stay with us.
Bula, kera mai singa toka, kera ndo tali taka na varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Si Kombinasyon Butikola, ndo tali taka na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw ko yato sila tali, nagurara may nawamanyi, nandunga. Gitu tali tajili ang gagawin na sabali, nagudurong varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti na ponga ni BNN.
The Fiji National Provident Fund has approved 30 applications under the Natural Disaster Withdrawal Scheme, successfully distributing $30,000 to the individuals' bank accounts. Chief Executive Chochi Karoi says the scheme is for those who genuinely need assistance. FMPF is working with the Commissioner Western's office to identify people in worst affected areas. Karoi says Bar remains their priority area.
There are about 9 teams on the field. They walk around with a mini office, basically that you can access all the data about the persons that that needs this assistance. So they go to your house, they check you've been affected, they can validate you there and give you the form to fill. If you can complete the form, you can give it to us so we can process it and pay out the requirements.
People in the Central Division came forward today with their donations to the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation Flood Appeal Close Drive, aimed at helping those affected by the recent floods in the Western and Northern Divisions. FBC Director Sales and Marketing Vijayan Kumar says the positive response shown is overwhelming, and he's encouraging all Fijians to show their support.
As you know, all those people that have ever been part of flooding, they know, basically you are so in a devastation state that you have lost everything. So at the moment, there's a lot of corporate organizations who are trying to support people by providing food rations and stuff. But the main thing, as you know, is very important that people need clothes. We'll be basically having this drive till Sunday, so it's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's why we are trying to appeal to every Fijian to sort of come and support the FBC drive.
The Chinese government today gave $40,000 worth of equipment to the National Disaster Management Ministry to help with the recovery after the devastation of Tropical Cyclone Josie. The items include chainsaws, portable water pumps, water hoses and rescue ropes. Minister Nia Serurato acknowledged the donation and mentioned how climate change is affecting Fiji.
We are coming to the end of our cyclone season, but let's not only focus on cyclones. One thing that is very interesting and is alarming as well is the changing weather patterns, and particularly the rainfall patterns in Fiji, where we are experiencing torrential rainfall within a very short period of time, which causes huge devastation.
Prime Minister Vorengen Bainimarama has told students of Navisao High School in Tailevu to maintain proper hygiene to avoid the spread of meningococcal disease. Bainimarama visited the school yesterday with Health Minister Rosie Akbar as the Health Ministry officiated over the administration of meningococcal C vaccination to the students. Akusita Tale reports.
Hi everyone.
Prime Minister Vorengen Bainimarama encouraged the students of Navisao High School to keep their surroundings clean.
You need to keep your school clean, okay? Not only your school, your homes and your surroundings at home. They need to be kept clean.
Around 300 students from the school were administered the meningococcal C vaccine yesterday, following 6 confirmed cases last week. These students include those that had consent from parents. Bainimarama says an assessment will be conducted soon to determine the assistance needed by the school.
The district office is going to come up with some figures, so the education department is going to come up with some figures, the school, to bring in some more beds, some good beds, some good cooking items, like pots and pans and maybe a gas cooker, and of course some more desks.
The vaccine that's being administered is the quadrivalent ACWY conjugate vaccine Menactra, a proven preventative to the spread of MenC. There have been 38 cases since last week, of which 6 were from Navisao High School. Ako si Tatale, FBC News.
35-year-old taxi driver Rajneesh Narayan was convicted of 1 count of rape by the High Court this afternoon. Judge Salesi Temo agreed with the unanimous opinion of the 3 assessors. While delivering his verdict, the High Court, the judge said that the 16-year-old girl was naive to befriend the accused. He also said that the accused exploited her naivety, and once he achieved his purpose, he chased her away. During the week-long trial, the court heard that on the night of September 13, 2016, Narayan raped the 16-year-old in his taxi at Suva Point. In sports, later with Jamie, Canberra Raiders have broken their 4-match losing streak in NRL, but we now join Rachel with business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening, and coming up in business tonight. Industry looks at investing in medical tourism. And in growing Fiji, FRA to better manage road projects. Stay with us.
Moala ranavika au tikongona tauna singa toka ando talitaka na wakaronga na Bull FM namba 2 na sere
ya dora subuli kurna bili borani batukara hambara binanga do talitakina na wakaronga na Bull FM namba 2 na sere
Bull FM namba 2 na sere.
In business tonight, medical tourism is an area the Fijian tourism industry can invest in to attract more tourists. Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association President Dixon Sito says Fiji has the potential to become a medical hub for other Pacific Island countries. Catherine Krishna reports.
Facilitating medical tourism in Fiji would be easy, says Sito, as Fiji has the correct skills and facilities when compared to other Pacific Island countries.
Hospital, and there are many other medical centers coming up. There's one in Nandi for the cardiology and things like that. It would be good, because I also know that there are people who come to Fiji for their dialysis and things like that.
South Pacific Tourism Organization Chief Executive Christopher Coca says Fiji has top-notch medical facilities when compared to the other Pacific Island countries.
Ministry of Tourism here in Fiji and also Tourism Fiji are looking into special niche tourism markets, segments that they would like to focus on. Medical tourism is one of those key areas.
Sito says medical tourism is an area that the Tourism Association and Tourism Fiji can work on to attract more tourists. He says proper planning and careful consideration is needed in this area before Fiji starts offering medical services. Catherine Krishna, FBC News.
And we now join Sharon from HFC Bank with the latest from the trading world.
Thank you. Let's see what's influencing our Fiji dollar today. The United States trade balance for February came out last night. Their trade deficit widened even further to $57.6 billion, with both exports and imports rising to record highs. U.S. initial jobless claims also saw an increase of 24,000 to end at 242,000 for the month of March. Despite all this, the greenback was in better shape. Focus also shifts to labor data in the U.S. and the Federal Reserve Chairman's speech on the economic outlook over the weekend. Meanwhile, all this movement in the U.S. dollar is affecting our major trade partners, and Rachel will have more on that. That's all for this week. Stay safe.
Thanks, Sharon. Yes, looking at today's currency exchange rate set this morning for the Fijian dollar. The Fiji dollar rose against our major trading partner, Australia and New Zealand, also increased against the euro and the Japanese yen. As for the commodities market, oil prices dropped slightly to 63.3 per barrel. Gold rose to close at 1,322 an ounce, and silver was up as well to close at 16.38 an ounce. And in growing Fiji tonight, with an increase in road development, the Fiji Roads Authority is working out the logistics of project and traffic management. Chief Executive Jonathan Moore says with the Suva Arterial Road Upgrade Project, also known as Sarup 2, will begin in the later half of this year. FRA is working on setting up alternative routes to avoid traffic congestion. $21 million has been earmarked for this project, which will see major upgrades in more than 20 roads in Suva. And that's a wrap from Business This Week. Now to sports. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thanks, Rachel, and good evening. In sports tonight, mixed results from Team Fiji at the Commonwealth Games. And secondary schools rugby receives $1.2 million boost. This and more coming up.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्पिन टकटाबुआ के मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
Olympic gold medalists Semi Kunatani and Samisoni Viruviri have been named in the 13-member Fiji Airways 7 squad for the Hong Kong tournament, which starts later tonight. Isake Kaptenimbao, who is pivotal in Fiji's win last year, will make his return to Hong Kong Stadium after a short absence from the national squad. Coach Gareth Baber has decided to rest Tasa Viramarlua and Sibulani Modinadangi for the Commonwealth Games next week, while Apanisa the Kaumbalavu will miss the tournament. And don't forget, live coverage of the Hong Kong Sevens on FBC TV starts at 10 this evening, while Fiji's first pool match is at 12:43 against Samoa. The Fiji Secondary Schools Rugby Union received a timely boost to its development plans for the next few years. This afternoon, the union re-signed a sponsorship deal with Coca-Cola Fiji for $1.2 million in cash and kind for the next 5 years. Union President Setereki Merikula says this sponsorship will also help grow its annual competition.
Our main aim is to reach out to as many secondary schools as possible, because we know that Fiji is a rugby nation. There's a lot of raw material. There's a lot of raw talents, untapped talents in rural schools.
Sponsorship because it supports grassroots rugby. And it gives, I suppose, the future stars of tomorrow the chance to showcase their talents today.
Team Fiji had mixed results on day 2 of the Commonwealth Games underway in Gold Coast, Australia. After losing his first match in the men's singles squash, Fiji veteran Sailesh Pala came back to beat James Faya of Sierra Leone by 3-0, while in the women's singles, Fiji's Alison Moore lost to Kenya's Kaligan Imji 3-0 this afternoon. In table tennis, Fiji's group team lost to Malaysia by 3 sets. In bowling, women's veteran Litia Tikoisuva played 2 matches today. In her first match, Tikoisuva beat Pinky of India 21-12 and later lost to Joe Edwards of New Zealand 21-10. The men's triples team of Semesa Naisirubati, Kusal Pillai and Arun Kumar have lost 2 matches today. They were beaten by Jersey 20-10. Then were outclassed by Australia 28-3. Runners competing in the Lost Island Ultra Marathon managed to cover 27 kilometers today before the race was halted due to the bad weather. The runners stopped in Lavai village in the province of Ra, hoping favorable weather might allow them to proceed to Numbutautau village in Navosa. The organizers have the race on hold while the racing tracks are being monitored under the current weather conditions. Meanwhile, Fijian athlete Eroni Takape says the race is expected to get tougher when it continues.
Today, gratefully, the weather changed, a bit cooler now. Yesterday was really hot, but big challenge, it's cooler, but the biggest challenge is the swamp and the rivers out there. It's going to be really one of the toughest one too today.
Coach Fiji Limited has joined the 2018 FIFA World Cup hype. The nationwide store chain and the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation are teaming up to promote its Hisense brand, which is also an official sponsor of the 2018 FIFA World Cup. A competition will be held on FBC's 6 radio stations and FBC TV with numerous prizes on offer. The competition will go through until July, when the final of the World Cup will be held.
For the FIFA World Cup, April, we've got 6 Hisense refrigerators. And for May, we've got 6 Hisense washers, automatic washers. June, we've got 6 Hisense air conditioners. And for July, we have the major one. That's the 65 inches Hisense 4K LED TVs.
That's it from sports tonight. Join Angie later on with weather and in new media. More bad news from Facebook. Details after the break.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo talita kana varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and the moi viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Usi kombinasyon mo tikola ndo talita kana Radio Fiji 1 kina ndo moi viti.
Ayaw ko yazo silitale, nagurara mai na omanyi, nandonga. Gitu talita gini ang gabibina sibale, nagudurong varorong na Radio Fiji 1 nando moi viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 nando moi viti na bonga ni BNN.
In new media tonight, the bad news keeps coming from Facebook, with the social network saying that the figure of 50 million users having their data pulled by Cambridge Analytica isn't quite accurate. The figure is actually closer to 90 million. And it's weather time now with Angie.
Hello to you and to a very wet weekend. Tropical Depression 13F is off our western shores and moving this way. It presents a serious threat of heavy downpours and flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas, so keep well away from streams and rivers, even small ones, which can quickly turn to raging torrents. In the west for today, it was cloudy with light rain most of the day. Expect heavy showers. Eastwards from Pekhava to Suva, mostly cloudy with light showers. And up north, heavy rain with flooding in low-lying areas. At sea, a strong wind warning is in effect for all Fiji waters with gusty winds and rough seas. For the tides, high tide will be at 11:27 p.m. with low tide at 5:22 a.m. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:14. The outlook for tomorrow, the tropical depression off our western shores has resulted in a heavy rain warning for the western division, the Yasawa and Mamonudu groups, Vanua Levu and Thavuni. Due to the ground already being saturated with water in these areas, there's a chance of severe flooding, so be extremely careful. A heavy rain alert remains in effect for the rest of Fiji. Tomorrow's temps, majority centers will be in the low 30s. And looking further on to Sunday, the tropical depression is slow moving, so Sunday is expected to be much like Saturday with rain and the threat of flooding. And that's all from the FBC Weather World. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fiji and Pulse tonight, we asked, is this the best national sevens team announced this season?
Yeah, exactly right. What is especially the forwards, eh? The Fiji team, when the forwards are good, the team will be good.
Yes, I believe this is the best team that has been selected because they have the experienced players like Cotton Mbau and Virviri, and I believe they will perform well.
This is the best team because most of the players that were part of the squad last year, they are part of this team this year.
I think this is the best team, especially when experienced players are part of it.
In the world of the weird and the wonderful, feeding the world depends on bountiful harvests, even in the face of changing pests and climate. Scientists are bringing a new tool to the Recapping the main stories, tropical depression heads towards Fiji as cyclone expected. PM issues weather warning to Fijians, and Fiji Sevens coach has named his team for Hong Kong. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question this week, we are asking: can the Fiji Sevens team win the Hong Kong title 4 times in a row? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, our shot of the day sent in by Krith Prasad. The sunrise was captured from a farm in Singatoka. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. You can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was your FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, have a safe long weekend. Good night.
Barorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kombinasyon mo tikola untuk talita na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Kaya kuya daw sila tale. Nagurara may naomanyi nandunga. Gitu talita jadi yang gitu Venezuela nangguntur rongo. Barorong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoy Viti na bonga ni BNN.